Welcome, Mike Martinez, and a trend that I see that's happening, and it's a mistake that I did from the very beginning, and I want to see if maybe I can help you guys avoid that mistake and get to success and get to producing an income a lot faster. So here's the deal. You know, a lot of times, again, I get hundreds of calls. And I've spoken to probably over the years thousands of different people, and a lot of times, you know, first time I get on the phone with you and we're talking about your particular situation, what I hear, and one of the first questions I ask is, well, tell me how big your list is. Most of the times the answer I'm getting is, well, Mike, to be honest with you, I know about the list building thing, but really don't have a list. So at that point, I always get into explaining the importance of a list, right? And what happens is, you know, you go off, you do what you're going to do, you try to pitch me your program or whatever the case is, but you go off, and a few months, maybe a year later, maybe longer, we get back on the phone. How's it going, man? Still same way, man. Doing this, doing the other. Got this other program I'm pushing. I'm doing this. Well, how's your list going? Man, I know. You always stress the list. I'm just not into that list building stuff. Well, here's the deal, guys. Okay, here's the deal. If you look at the people that are making the money, if you look at the top income earners in your company, in the industry that you're in, whatever it is, guys, the people that are making the money are the people that are making the list. Because here's the difference, guys. Actually, here's the key point. There's not much of a difference between the top income earner and you as far as what the conversion level is. And by that I mean that most of the people that the top earner in your company is talking to are still rejecting the business. That's just because he's the top earner doesn't mean that 9 out of 10 people that he talks to gets into the business. The fact of the matter is that if he's doing 20%, 30%, he's doing very, very well. 70% of the people are walking away. That's just the way the numbers work, right? And it's actually more 80-20. 80% of the people are walking away, 20% of the people are going. And then those 20 fall into different categories, right? Because not the whole 20 is actually going to be a gangbuster, you know, rocking the business. Some of them are just product users. Some of them are tricklers where, you know, they sponsor 2 or 3 people. Some of them are dead wood, okay? And that's just the way it is. And you got to work with the numbers according to how the numbers is. So the importance of having a list is that you get to go through these numbers a lot faster. Now, here's the key. The key is that although you are not sponsoring 80% and the top earner is, 20% and the top earner is, so 80% of the people are walking away from the top earner. But because he has them on a list, he can offer them something else. Okay, and that means he gets to get a little change, and maybe not a little change, maybe a lot of change from those people that are walking away. So he's still deriving an income from that list. And if you don't have that list in place, what happens is you have a lead. And is it easy to get a lead? In some cases it is, most cases it's not. So if you go through the trouble of getting a lead, it just makes sense to put them on a list. Put them somewhere where you can revisit with them. Put them somewhere where you can establish a relationship with them. Put them somewhere where you may be able to monetize in the future. And that is the difference between what the top income earners are doing and what you are doing if you do not have a list. So, you know, I fought this idea about building a list for the longest. I'm telling you, I fought it for the longest until I met one of my mentors, and this guy was very specific at saying, Mike, you're wasting your time. Let me show you something. Took me to his computer, pressed a button. His list was huge, huge. He had already been, you know, online marketing for 5 or 6 years. He had hundreds of thousands of people. Okay, now again, do all of these people respond? No, they don't. But at the press of a button, he's able to hit 300,000 people plus. And imagine the numbers, right? If we're talking 10%, if we're talking 30%. So that's the difference. I didn't have that. And when I saw the results that he produced over the next 48 hours, I was just flabbergasted. I just couldn't believe it. And what really bothered me was the fact that from day one, I had purchased a book. When I first started online marketing years and years ago, I bought a book from Robert Allen, the real estate guru. He wrote a book, something about multiple streams of income on the internet, something like that. And one of the first lessons in that book was create a list. Start sending, start creating a list, putting people in a certain category. That way you can revisit with them and blah, blah, blah. And, like most people, that really, it's not really me, right? Well, I'll tell you what, guys. What's not really you is that you need to start following this idea, because this is where it all begins. And if you're just jumping from one program to the next, jumping, you're not doing anything if you're not building a list. And if you're going out there and getting a lead from whichever source you're getting it, and you're not putting him on a list, and you're not monetizing that list, you are absolutely wasting your time. Absolutely wasting your time. So here's the deal. On this page, you're going to find a list building program. And I'm going to tell you, it costs a whopping $7. All right. It's 2 hours of video training and 2 PDF ebooks that you're going to have access to resell. $7. I know a lot of you smokers out there are thinking, that's a pack of cigarettes. I don't know if I can afford that. Well, in New York, it's $15, by the way. Somewhere between $12 to $15 to buy a pack of cigarettes. Well, anyway, the bottom line is $7 if you decide you want to invest in your future. I'm going to tell you this, guys. If you haven't built a list, now is the time to start. Don't waste another day. Don't jump into another program if you're not building a list, because you're just wasting your time. As a matter of fact, you've probably been in a couple of programs that are worthwhile that you just have wasted your time with because you haven't built a list. So build the list. I'm telling you, take your focus on all this jumping around from place to place, and just focus on how can I build a list. Because if you do that, I'm telling you, over the next 6 months, your income is going to explode. Over the next 6 months, your business is going to explode. Over the next 6 months, you're going to advance so much, it's just going to be ridiculous. The point is, guys, the point is that if you want to make the money that the top income earners are doing, then you got to do the same thing that the top income earners are doing. And what are they doing? They're building lists, because again, even the people that don't join them, they can monetize the list and get a little bit. $10 here, $5 there, $15 there, and before you know it, they built tens of thousands of dollars of income because of the list from people that have walked away, that haven't done their primary business. So that's what you got to get into. My name is Mike Martinez. Go through the rest of this page, see if this is for you. If it is, $7 is all that it takes for you to start today to start building that list. I'm hoping to be communicating with you in the future, and remember, it's your time to shine.